Hello, welcome to the Dimp Digital Podcast. We're on episode number 58, and you've got myself, Apps, kicking things off here, but I'm going to be joined by other members of the Dimp Digital crew throughout this podcast. First up will be Tom Adcock, and he's going to be here to celebrate Zelda's 30th anniversary, and I know we're a bit late on that particular actual anniversary, but it can be tricky to try and get things like this done in a timely manner. But we've got it anyway. We're going to go through and talk about Zelda, the Zelda franchise and some of his favourite games. I then sit down with Logan and Adkins to talk about the Uncharted 4 beta and our thoughts on what the full game might be like. And I cap things off with Mr. Adkins dissecting the Hitman beta. So it's all games focused on this particular week. Any news we'll catch up on next week, so look forward to the news part of it. But we are going to be talking just games on this particular episode. Nothing more for me to say apart from sit back, relax and enjoy. Here we are then. Pac-Man himself, Tom Adcock, not Adkins, joins me on the podcast to celebrate the Legend of Zelda's 30th anniversary. Now, we're obviously a bit late with this, but it is 2016. It's the year of the 30th anniversary. We've had the Twilight Princess HD remake or remaster come out on the Wii U in the last couple of weeks or so. But off the bat, Mr. Adcock, the reason why it's late is because I wanted to get you on. There was no other man really that was going to be up to the task, because you've played a lot of these games. They've been around since you were knocking around. I mean, would you say this is your favourite gaming franchise? It's got to be up there.
Yeah, it probably is. I've got some reservations now, but yeah, it is. Franchise, yes.
Franchise, yes. Yeah, it's been knocking
Confirmed.
around. Yeah, it's undoubtedly, one of the best, franchises that are in existence. And we're not going to be able to go through every game blow by blow. It'd be impossible to do that. But what we've asked you to do is pick out your 5 favourite Zelda games. So there's no particular order though. You didn't want to rank them, did you? Because you thought it was going to be a bit tough to do that. I mean, it is tough considering the 5 games that you've just selected span 15 years. So the tech and the changes that happen there. But it's a tough one to do. But we will do this in chronological order, I think. So we're going to start with the oldest entry that you gave me. So you skip over the first 2 of Zelda games and you jump in at Link to the Past.
Yeah.
1991 SNES. Overhead 2D, third in the series. Well, just quickly before we get into that, how comes number 1? I think I know why number 2 is not there, because it went for a side-scrolly type business. But the first one was pretty revolutionary.
I did, yeah. I remember being like a proper young kid, and the furthest I was allowed to walk up the road was a place called Nobles. It's on the seafront. Do you know it?
Yeah.
They used to rent NES games. And I remember once picking Zelda because it had a wicked, gold, shiny cartridge. It's like, wow, that looks special. Mm-hmm. And I did have a go of it, but it's very ambiguous. It definitely doesn't hold your hand, that one. And
right.
I think I was just too young. I remember wandering around lost, not knowing what I was doing or where I was going.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I even touched Zelda 2 when I was a kid. But it was just maybe a bit too early for me to be kind of getting my hands on that one. So I did miss the first 2, really.
Yeah, I mean, at that age, it's not a kid's game, really, is it? As much as it's set in a fantasy world, how difficult the game is and the sort of puzzles you've got to work out.
Exactly. I think there's a sweet spot for picking them up as a kid, like when they're accessible, like you're old enough to kind of grasp what you're meant to be doing, but you kind of get suckered in by the sweet graphics. And
so we jump into a Link to the Past. What's so special about this one? It's a 2D top-down. It's made your top 5. You've got a couple of 2D top-downs in there, but this is on the SNES, also released on the Game Boy Advance at a later date. But yeah, I mean, explain to us why the Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past is the oldest one on there, I guess.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, I would say it's my first introduction to Zelda.
So it's the first one you played start to finish,
properly,
and could enjoy because it wasn't too difficult.
Yeah, a friend of mine, I remember playing football, and he goes, "Come around mine, I've got a new game, you might like it." And he sort of loaded it up, and it's the classic kind of Zelda intro. You're just in a bed, sleep, you get a telepathic message, and pretty much you're just on a quest within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because you rescued a princess in maybe the first hour. Yeah. And I was like, sweet, and back then I had no idea how long a game was going to be. So I was like, am I nearing the end? What's going on?
Yeah.
And then that is just the very first chapter in an absolute, I mean, bearing in mind this is Super Nintendo, the game must be 30 hours long. It
really?
Is huge, yeah.
That is insane, because like, normally they were rock hard and an hour long, but it'd take you 5 hours. That's insane.
And like, that console had some really good games like Street Fighter, Mario World, Metroids. I mean, I enjoyed so many games before that, but that was the very first time I played a game, and I was just like, holy shit! Like, this has got a story. Like, I'm on an adventure. This is like a character. I don't know. It was just so much head and shoulders above anything else I'd played before it. And I think I didn't know then, because arguably it has got the best dungeon design. It's got a huge amount of dungeons in it. It's the first game that has the I guess you would know, like, now the split world. It's like a light world, dark world. Now it's a mechanic they constantly like rehash with, like, Ocarina's Young and Old, Twilight Princess has like Wolf Link and non-Wolf Link, and so they just constantly rehash this mechanic.
It changes the mechanic of the game, doesn't it? Usually, it changes how you play the game. And
I'm not sure if a game's done that before, if they're the first ones to kind of do that palette swap.
Yeah,
save a lot of memory, but essentially double the size of your
experience.
Yeah. So that just blew my mind. The fact that even then you save the princess in the first hour, maybe within the first 7 hours you've got the pendants that you think at the time are going to complete the game, and it doesn't complete the game. It opens up a whole nother world with another 7 dungeons to beat, and God knows how many characters and how much story. So it's just, going into that fresh, like, not knowing, like, nowadays, where you expect 20, 30, 40 hour games, I don't think it's going to have the same impact. But back then, when you didn't know, and it just kept surprising you, kept opening up bigger bits of the world, but a world that was by no means like boring or tiresome. You just wanted. I remember once it was instantly starting the whole thing again. I wanted to go back into the world and play it and play it and play it,
and just keep doing it. So did you buy this or rent this? How did this end up? So you saw your friend's version of it. Did you then go, right, I need to get my hands on this?
Exactly. I think I had a paper round at the time, so I just saved for a couple of weeks.
And that
£8.
Value for money wise, that's amazing, isn't it? What you're getting there, because you probably would only afford a couple of games a year tops, like, for yourself. So to land Link to the Past and get that sort of length out of it and quality. It's always going to stand out.
When you only had like magazines to go by, so if you kind of miss the issue that said it, then it's just like in a top 10 list. You don't then pay much attention to it.
No.
So that was just such a bit of luck that he showed me that. And like, sometimes we muck about now, and I always tell him, like, cheers for like introducing me to that. It's like my favourite game basically ever.
He doesn't play video games anymore. He's like, yeah, all right, you nerd, that's fine. He's grown. What's that shit? Link.
Yeah, mate, honestly, I love this game. I haven't played it in a long time, but they've re-released it recently on 3DS, and I think I'll download it and give it a whirl, because it is fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, would you say it's probably the best game on the SNES? It's got to be up there.
It would be my favourite, yeah. And I think generally it would be in anyone's top 3 or 5, probably.
Yeah.
I think Super Metroid gets touted, and I think the SNES was very heavy on like RGPs, like Chrono Trigger and A Secret of Mana, those Japanese ones. They're really well touted.
Yeah.
But certainly up there, I mean, it's just so much more accessible, I think, than those ones. I've never been keen on the old turn-based RGPs.
This is real time, wasn't it? Gave you a little bit of action,
good mix,
combat. Yeah. I mean, it's like you say, it's on the Virtual Console as well. So the Wii and Wii U, people that maybe haven't got that could dip into that if you don't mind going for a retro style game. It is there for them. That was released all the way back in 1991.
I know, and I'm going to do these how I felt playing them at the time, not how they aged. But
no, you can't.
Particularly this one has aged very well, even graphically.
Yeah,
like, it still looks. I mean, it's very cartoony, but it still looks good. And
there's indie games that go for that retro style now that look worse than this does.
Exactly.
So, it's a testament to what they did there. So, Link to the Past on the SNES gets the nod. Now I've got on here the next one, 1993 release, Link's Awakening. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, this was a handheld release, wasn't it?
Yeah, original Game Boy.
Original Game Boy. Now, does this pack the same punch as what A Link to the Past did? Or did it feel like a bit of a slimmed down version, or was it just that you was going, look, I'm playing this on the go, this is amazing what everyone being given?
Yeah, I tell you what, mate. For an original Game Boy game, it is huge,
right?
Genuinely, and it is an amazing feat because they've packed in like the mechanics of the Super Nintendo one onto the original Game Boy.
Yeah.
But they've been very clever. It's the first one, I believe, that's not set in Hyrule, so it's got an odd setting and it's got a very odd feel about it.
Yeah.
You're on a deserted island. You wake up shipwrecked, so you've got none of the usual characters except for in flashback. But you've got at least 7 huge dungeons. You've got they've dropped the dual Dark World, Light World mechanics. So you've just done the one world. So it's, it feels fresh, but it is a full adventure.
Yeah.
But obviously in your pocket. And it doesn't feel scaled back at all because it's a handheld game at the end of the day. You want to be able to play it in shorter bursts, but don't. That's doing it a disservice because
it still packs a punch.
Huge. Yeah. I think when you consider Wind Waker's got, I think maybe 5 dungeons.
Yeah.
This has got 7 or 8, and they are huge, and it is so difficult to get in them, and the puzzles are tough, very tough. It's again not kid friendly at all. Yeah. But it's a stunning achievement.
Yeah, because the Game Boy back in the day didn't have colour, did it? It was
they did do a re-release on the colour Game Boy.
Yeah.
And stuck a new stupid colour dungeon in it. I remember playing that one again.
Oh, they put a whole new dungeon into those with colours, like.
Yeah, just everything's colours in there. Just stand on the red spot and green spot. It's never even properly in colour though, was it? It was just kind of different shades. It's terrible. Yeah. But do you know what as well? Nice little story on this one as well. One of the best, if not the best story in my opinion. Is
that because it separates itself from Hyrule and it is kind of stands on its own 2 feet rather than,
Yeah, to be fair, that might be difficult in retrospect because it is different. I'm giving it a lot of praise for being different. Yeah. But it is a very nice little self-contained story. Yeah. I wish they'd done this kind of thing more often, to be honest.
Yeah, well, is that a way of you saying you'd like them to take a different direction and, maybe do a few more, completely new environments for people to work through and not have the same kind of, areas and stuff.
I guess we'll get to that bit at the end, but absolutely. Yeah. This is really nice. I mean, I don't know if we can do spoilers and whatnot. But,
do it. It's fine. If no one's played, it's a
25-year-old game, isn't it?
I mean, I hate spoilers, but that's fine. For a game that old.
To be honest, I won't even do it. But it's a very nice little self-contained story. Yeah. Good little twists in it. Quite sad, quite Shadow of the Colossus-y in that respect. Yeah. You kind of what you're doing is not particularly good for the inhabitants of this island. So. It kind of feeds you in with the story. You kind of start working out that something's not quite right here, which, again, today's day, it's nothing. But back then, on a Game Boy, kind of what the fuck is going on here? Yeah. Yeah, you probably weren't expecting that much of a story out of a handheld anyway. You've got the mechanics there. You might think, I'll just breeze through it. But it's obviously giving you a decent story to get your teeth into as well. Exactly. And I think both those games are probably better than the re-released 2D one they done recently, the Link Between Worlds, which is a direct sequel to Link to the Past, which is an amazing game. But these two, just in my opinion, they are better, definitely better stories. Yeah. And A Link Between Worlds doesn't really add very much to these games that are now 20 years old. They're amazing. They are really, really good. And I hear a lot of people say they're better than the 3D ones. Yeah. I'm not saying I think that, but I definitely wouldn't argue with anyone that would say that. Yeah, it's very, very, very good.
Yeah, so that draws a close to your kind of 2D versions of the game. So you've got A Link to the Past, A Link's Awakening on the Game Boy, which is, that is incredible work there by the team there. And if you are a Zelda fan at this time, you've got to wait a little while to the next one. It's 1998, so you go from 93 to 98 with no Zelda, and what you get is Ocarina of Time. Now it's got to be worth the wait, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've harped on about this one a lot, but exactly. I think this is the one of only, I don't know, 2 or 3 instances where something for me has been hyped up that much and I've looked forward to it that amount, and then it's actually surpassed what I was expecting. Like they just the jump with Mario from 2D to 3D was like very, very good. I was like, the mechanics work. It they've added it. The bits that you kind of think, how are they going to do that? They've changed them well enough. It was very good. Clunky camera and whatnot, but fine. This was just like unbelievable. The flip to 3D was at the time absolutely stunning, and then it just made all the old mechanics work, and then just the puzzles like fiendishly difficult because you're in a 3D environment. But again, massive story, huge. 30-40 hour game. It just felt like a proper adventure. It's whatever. It's when you probably played the first ones, you think if this ever got to 3D, it could be amazing. And they delivered with Ocarina of Time. N64 is certainly its flagship title, in my opinion. When you look back at what was released on that console, I mean, you could say maybe GoldenEye, but Ocarina of Time, in terms of an out-and-out game, it has to be that. It has to be. And I've only played it on the 3DS. And it's still great. It still holds up on that version. It actually works very well on the 3DS because you don't expect as much out of it. Like you're saying with Link's Awakening, you think, oh, you're not really overhyping it, but it blows you away even today. Yeah, it's a staggering achievement for the time. Like, definitely. So many things about it were revolutionary, and other games have just stolen from it constantly. They're still using stuff today. They're still using those mechanics today, a lot of them. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a fantastic game. If you haven't played it and you've got a 3DS, get it on that because it works perfectly. Another kind of this has been re-released on 3DS as well. This is your next one. This is number 4, Majora's Mask. Didn't have to wait as long this time. It's only 2 years between the two. N64. A lot of people would have been thinking, is that enough time for a fully fledged Zelda game to come in? Because they basically were asked to do an impossible task, but by all accounts, they've pulled it off with Majora's Mask, and it is very different. It's very, very different from Ocarina of Time before it. Yeah, I think this is the thing. Sometimes, definitely not so much now, maybe, but Nintendo actually just hit the ball out of the park with this. How are you meant to follow up on the same console? What is touted as the greatest game of all time, with 2 years to do it. I mean, they done the right thing. They didn't try and compete. They went for a completely different aesthetic world. So again, it's one of the only 2 or 3 that you're not playing in Hyrule. Wicked new mechanic in that it's on a 3-day loop. It's like Groundhog Day almost, isn't it? Exactly. Kind of loops around. Exactly. You start on 6 a.m. of day 1. That's it. By midnight of day 3, that's the end of the world. Yeah. That's so interesting, that concept. You have an object that can reset the world, but every time you do that, you reset every interaction with characters. A lot of your items and things are gone. So you have to be very strategic about when you do this, when you go back to the beginning of the day. It's fantastic. It's such a good game. It is smaller, much smaller than Ocarina of Time and several of the others. But it just feels right. I mean, I get at the time people maybe felt cheated and that it was a watered down game perhaps, but I think, like with several of the others that they've tried to be different with, these are the ones that have aged the best. Like, people look at them and say, right, they've done something different there. It all worked. It's got a really sort of dark story, well, for Zelda, dark anyway. Again, because it's got unique characters, you don't know where it's going to go. No. And I love the fact they kind of rehashed like a real sort of D-list character from the Ocarina of Time, and then just turned him into the main bad guy. Like, I don't know how often that's happened, but I feel like it's a very clever thing. And even then, he wasn't like bad. He was being manipulated by something much worse. But it just works. Like, it's a really good. I feel like a film should do that. It's a really good mechanic. Just pick a character you see sort of in passing, and then he becomes the main part of the follow-up. Exactly, really, really like this game, and I've got real fond memories for it now. Got it on my 3DS. Still haven't actually played it again though. No, I mean, out of all the Zeldas, I mean, I've only played Ocarina of Time from start to finish, but
Majora's Mask always sounded like the most interesting to me because of that kind of Groundhog Day concept, and you reset every time, and you have to go back and find a way of progressing even just a little bit further the next time, making progress that way, and try almost like an experiment in a way. You're kind of experimenting with the people, and it seems like there's loads of different like little Easter eggs and things that you can find by doing certain actions at certain times of the day. Everyone has the same routine as well, and that to me, I just thought, I don't know why that just really appeals to me.
Yeah, I think especially for someone like you who love your like Witcher 3 side quests, it's got some really. That's the thing with this. There's only 4 main dungeons.
Yeah.
But there's and so you only technically need 4 of the maybe 30 masks.
Yeah.
But all the other 26 masks, they've all got a real sort of like story arc to gaining those and the different tasks you have to go through, and a lot of really good story there. Yeah. So yeah, for people who do like, I think a standalone story, so it's not bogged down with all the convoluted same story that goes on in the Zelda games. This one just on its own. Plus, if you really get to know the characters of the world, and they're all different, and again, it's quite sad because obviously you do all this, you get to know them, and then you reset, and they don't know who the hell you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but very good on many, many levels. Shame they haven't gone back and tried something like this again, really.
No, I think it's amazing. For the time they had, for 2 years between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, to come up with something that unique, for it to work that well is amazing.
Yeah, brave as well. Like, it's hard to, not just go, right, that all works. Just
rehash Hyrule a little bit.
Make it all bigger, just go bigger bosses, done. But no, they really, really went for something, like, out of third base, and it paid off, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Last one on your list. I must admit I don't know too much about this title, but we mentioned it earlier on. It's Twilight Princess. Comes out in 2006. Did you go for the GameCube or the Wii version? Because obviously it was not one of the few games, but one of those games that released on both platforms. Launch. So you had a kind of decision to make there.
Yeah, I went Wii. Got it with the Wii. Yeah,
motion
in my
controls.
Head, I was like, yeah, exactly. I was like, swing a sword. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
It wasn't in that respect. Tacked on, terrible.
Oh, really? That's interesting because you said it's tacked on terrible, yet still it makes the top 5. So it must have other redeeming factors that.
Yeah, to be honest, if I was going now, having played them all in hindsight, it might not make it. But at the time, and that's how I'm doing this, because I think it's the only fair way to do it, as we always say. It was just everything I wanted. I wasn't a huge fan of the Wind Waker's like aesthetic and things. Going from like the 2 Ocarina and Majora's Mask, and then seeing that Space World demo of Link fighting Ganon, and it was all super realistic. And that is what everyone, including me, was expecting the next Zelda to look like. And they popped out cartoony Wind Waker. At a time when PlayStation 2 was out with all the game, Grand Theft Auto and things.
Yeah.
I was like in my 20s then. I didn't want to play like a good. Yeah, exactly. And so it's a great game, but it was disappointing. And then when they sort of touted this one, you was just like, right, this is the real sequel to Ocarina of Time, because back then I guess the formula was maybe just starting to become a little bit stale, but it wasn't in that you had your main entries that were set in Hyrule, huge amount of dungeons, and then you had these like spin-off ones like Majora's Mask, Four Swords and Link's Awakening, which are set on different places, usually a little bit smaller but more quirky stories and whatnot.
Yes.
So this just felt like a main game, huge amount of dungeons, set in Hyrule, epic story, realistic graphics.
So we've obviously got this this particular one in high praise. Any interest in the HD remaster or remake of this, or is it at its time?
No, I'm going to get that. I mean, this is the thing. This is one of the ones that hasn't. Like, it got very well reviewed and a lot of praise at the time. It doesn't seem to have stood the test of time as well as like Wind Waker that was on the same console, both GameCube games. That one came under like huge criticism at the time. But has people absolutely rave about it now? Like that whole shell-shaded thing is a thing now.
Well, that doesn't age. That's the trouble. That's the thing about that take, is that does not age. Whereas when you try and do something realistic, inevitably within 5 years it looks poor almost.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a tricky one.
Yeah, no, I've got fond memories of this one. I really did. It was just everything I wanted at the time.
Yeah.
And to me, they absolutely nailed it. So yeah, I'll definitely go back and give this a revisit. I've never played it since I beat it. It's actually got in my opinion as well, the best dungeon design. Right. It is fantastic. Some real, just like so much fun. There's one that's like a dungeon that's got no floors essentially, but you've got like a double hook shot. So the whole thing is you kind of swinging around like Tarzan.
Yeah.
It's wicked. There's some really, really good ones there.
Excellent.
Loved it.
Yeah. So that's your top 5 Zelda games. No particular order there.
No.
Before we move on to looking at the future of Zelda quickly, and obviously I'll let you go, I just wanted to know what your opinion was on the Zelda timeline that was eventually published by Nintendo, because it seemed to be at the start there was no interest in them. They were just saying that these are all separate, entry. They are legends, like you'd find in a book. They're not related. Then they went out of their way to try and connect them together. Would you have rather just left it alone? Because I've sat there and read about the timelines, and I can't make head or tail of it.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me in the slightest, mate. I don't believe it at all. There's no way that's the timeline when they were making those early games.
Oh, of course not. Yeah, it's like the Saw films when they go back and add bits in from the first films. Like, that didn't happen.
They've just shoehorned something together that makes some sort of sense and gone, yep, that's official, done.
Just to appease a vocal minority who wanted probably some sort of continuity, when really I think it's more charming if it was all just standalone entries and they're not connected. They are just what they are.
It's one of those things, it just doesn't need to be explained. As soon as you start doing that, it makes it ridiculous. Just let people believe what they want to believe, like if it's connected or not. Like, I don't know, there's like ones where, like in Wind Waker, where they throw like a statue of an old like Zelda link in, so you're like, oh, this actually links back to that particular game. If they just done stuff like that, but then never actually said anything, just got people talking, a bit of buzz, then I think that's better, really. I don't know. Or maybe just do a reboot and start again like Tomb Raider. If they're going to do that now, just go back to year one and just go, right, that's all done. Yeah. We're starting again fresh, and let's go. Yeah,
because you've got sort of 2 timelines going on, haven't you? And now it's like, which timeline is the game set in? And then
exactly, and it's a load of old bollocks in it. Like no one. The thing is, you don't need to. Like, no one goes, oh, Mario 1. What's the story? Where does that fit? How many times? No one cares. Like, they're old games. They didn't have stories. They don't need stories. Just make and I think people are very forgiving, like the Tomb Raiders. Yeah, good. Then terrible, reboot good, no one cares. As long as you give them a fun game, that's all anyone wants. Yeah,
and that's probably what we're looking for out of the future of Zelda, because, I mean, we've not had a mainstream entry since 2011. That was Skyward Sword. We had the Link Between Worlds, which you mentioned, on the 3DS, and Triforce Heroes that have been released in between them. But everyone's looking for an epic Zelda game next. That's what everyone wants. And it's been... the Zelda U, or whatever you want to call this one that's in development, I think it's been a little bit of a rocky road, if you ask me. I mean, we were promised this in 2015. That didn't happen. And I think the earliest we'll ever get this will be the back end of this year. Are you at all worried about what is going on there? Because from what I've seen and what they showed us, it looks fantastic. It looks like a great direction they're going in. But do you ever think they might have just bitten off a little bit more they can chew with the trying to set it in like a genuine open world that doesn't have, separated regions as such?
No, I'm confident they can achieve it. Like, Nintendo are good, and they're good with their own machine. They can, they'll get every bit of juice out of that thing that's possible. And the PS3 era consoles, they had some huge games on them. So I think you can do, massive open world with an interesting art style and whatnot, and it'll work. That will be fine. I just hope they innovate like they used to, because as much as I love these games, and I do, and I'm not, even the bad ones are still better than like 80% of all the other games out there. They're good games. But I think if I noticed when you said to me yesterday, give me a top 5, when I looked at those and the years they came out, apart from a couple of like sideline ones like the Four Swords Adventures and whatnot, they almost run in a sequence. Yeah. I think that is the golden age for me of the Zeldas. It's from when they ironed out the kind of, not the mess, but the first one was obviously very old and
Yeah.
You know, it's an 8-bit game. Second one was kind of maybe a black sheep side project that just didn't really work out, and they've never gone back there.
Yeah.
I think from Link to the Past, when they nailed that kind of dual world mechanic, then they went 3D, obviously brilliant, and then Skyward Sword being like kind of spiritual successor to the Ocarina.
Yeah.
I think all amazing, all really good. I think from that point on, I noticed personally a bit of like fatigue of the series, just like very well worn mechanics. You know exactly. Basically, it's always the same kind of setup. You collect 3 pendants to get a sword. You get the sword. The story takes a twist, and then there's another 7 dungeons before you fight the boss. You know, you're in the same world, same characters. It needs like a new lick of paint, basically. And by going all out open world, if it's what they say, then it'd be amazing. The only thing is, I think a lot of like the kind of mechanics they innovated back in the Ocarina of Time, like they have been copied, but they've been copied and bettered now like many times. So I just hope they can go away and not just become like, you know, imitators of themselves via another 25 games. They can really push 3D open world games to something else, and maybe, you know, get people interested, not just because these should be console sellers. I don't want this to be like just people, you know, fan service going, oh, it's the new Zelda, no one knew. This should be like, look, people like you looking over and going, right, I can't not play that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I kind of worry about. I just, you know, it's a shame the Wii U, or, you know, if it's going to be ported to the NX, I can't imagine it's going to have a massive, you know, reskin. It'll probably just be like you said with the Twilight Princess, a like for like swap. You know, it'll look nice, but it's not going to be revolutionary. And I think aesthetically, it's what people look at from the off. And I mean, it does look very nice. The one on the Wii U, it looks amazing. But you know, hopefully it's enough to get non-believers over. But I think it does need a new lick of paint, and definitely a freshening up of mechanics. It can't be the same stale. Because I mean, Skyward Sword, that's my worst Zelda. That's the most recent one. Or I'm not sure what came out actually. That and Link Between Worlds, but whatever one.
But like a mainstay 3D.
Exactly, because it was honestly, Joe, it was just not like. Like it was so linear and non-open world. It was just a hub world with like 4 then like basic worlds where it just walked you through them, and then you return there like to each of the 4 hubs like 2 or 3 times throughout the game, and that was it. And they were just closed off areas, and it was just like such a step backwards. Because I know like the true 3D ones, they're not open world as in, you know, GTA or The Witcher or whatever, but they, you know, they're, for the time they kind of were. And to go from a step backwards rather than forwards just baffled me. It was a really, again, I'm not saying it's not a good game, it's a good game, but it's just, it wasn't, compared to the other Zeldas, in my opinion, it was poor, very poor. So I want them, open world, and I don't know, like a Nintendo spark of genius on the whole genre. That would make me very happy.
So what's your prediction then? Is this going to be Wii U, Nintendo NX, or both?
I'd like it just to be Wii U, but
they've been in that Wii U. They're sick of that Wii U. They want it out.
Yeah, going with like no smoke without fire, then it's probably going to be on both, or at least if not initially as a launch on Wii U, and then like a GTA port over to NX.
Sure.
Early in that console generation, like if not a launch game,
get that off the ground.
Afterwards. Sell it all twice. They love doing that. Like double your money.
Yeah, double dipping. People will do it as well. Well, it depends what the console is. Maybe people won't do it if it's not what people are after. But that is the trouble with Nintendo. You just don't know what they're doing. With their games or their consoles, they march to beat their own drum, and sometimes it works. Things like Splatoon and whatnot, and other times you get some real toilet come out of that. But we will see. We'll see. Any last closing words and positive stuff for Zelda before we close this down and celebrate Link's little birthday?
Well, I don't know. I just hope the new one's really good. I hope, you know, more people play them, because I speak to a lot of people. It's definitely a lot of people's, not their first game, but the first game they kind of proper fall in love with. And I think, you know, you just want that to continue to happen, because it has that perfect mix of accessibility with like the graphics and the slowness of the start, to then really ramping up and
Yeah.
I think a lot of kids will play it with their like older brothers and sisters and their parents and things, and it just gives you a proper love of video games. I think once you kind of get bitten by that bug, you're not going to ever go back.
No. Well, there you go then. That is Celebration of Zelda. 30th anniversary celebrated a few weeks ago officially, but 2016 is the year of Zelda. That is amazing that it's been running for 30 years. It's up there, one of the longest running franchises, and they consistently brought out good games. They've had a few bad ones that you'd consider bad, but like you said, Tom, they're better than 80% of most games, and that's a testament to the whole franchise.
It'd be nice if they took him 30 years and actually aged him 30 years, like, an older Zelda.
Got two timelines, he'll be a kid again.
Yeah, but like a sort of solid Snake, like a grizzled old veteran adventurer, like sort of one last hurrah, and sort of then he gets wiped out at the end, and they go, right, that's it, done, IP done, not doing that anymore. Splatoon, that's the new thing. Yeah,
little squids running round. There you go, mate. Thanks for joining me. It's been great to talk about Zelda. Cheers, mate.
See you later, dude.
Logan and Adkins have joined us here on the podcast to discuss the Uncharted 4 beta, which took place last weekend. Let's just get into it. There's no point messing around. We're midway through. No introductions needed at this level. Let's just start with how the game looks and runs, because it's beautiful looking, and it runs like a bit of a dream, doesn't it, Adkins?
Yes, it does, Apps.
That was your first comment you said to me. He's like, this runs like dick, or so I can't remember your exact phrase, but you was loving it.
Like a big stilky penis, it runs.
Oh, actually, that was me.
That was Logan.
His dicks,
yeah, he said smooth his dicks. That was his exact quote, and I was like, Christ. Don't know what he's been feeling, but...
Smooth his dick. No, I was very impressed, actually. After playing the Nathan Drake collection, where they buffed it up to a solid 60.
Solid, was it? Rock.
It was proper rock solid, done by... Was it Blue Point it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, they've done that, yeah.
So this is Naughty Dog on their own, and smashing it out. And they've done a sterling job, although I was a bit pissed off to hear what you said about single-player campaign having a downgrade.
Yeah, I mean, let's just cover that off. So the multiplayer aspect of the game runs at 900p, 60 frames per second. Single player will be 1080p, 30 frames per second. Now, you're a big frame rate man. You're also a big resolution man. You've got the gear there. You've got the Master Race there. Would you rather have 900p 60 FPS or 1080p 30 FPS in your single player?
I don't think many people are going to notice them extra pixels in the resolution.
No.
I think the frame rate's a bigger thing. I'd happily have 900p and 60 frames, but I don't think many people are going to notice that. I
think that's a little bit mad, because it looked fine at 900p. Not a lot of people are going to be noticing that, like you said, and I think frame rate's far more important.
Yeah,
in my opinion, especially for.
But no, first impressions, I was blown away of how good mainly the foliage in that. We've got 3 maps.
He loves the foliage.
He loves environments. This kid.
I love a bit of foliage. We've got the jungle map, the Madagascar City, and one called Rooftops.
Yeah.
And I thought that the jungle map looked the prettiest.
Yeah, that's their bread and butter, isn't it? And those sort of jungle environments. Logan, were you impressed with this aspect of the beat, how it ran and looked? I mean, like you said, it was smooth as dick. So how can you argue with that sort of review?
No more needed.
No.
I don't want to get bogged down in frame rates, because I feel like I've banged on about it.
Well, you got Borderlands nose, didn't you? Saying
fucking irritated me beyond belief. I mean, I just want to say that if it's running at 30 frames per second here, God knows what Borderlands must have dropped to sometimes when we played it.
This is running at 900. Sorry, not 900. This is running at 60 frames per second.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, the single campains.
Oh, right, sure. Yeah.
That's running at 30, and that you probably wouldn't really notice it.
No,
but anyway, that's Borderlands. But it was really smooth. I really didn't expect it to be a 60 frames per second game, but I think I was saying to you the other day, I think it's now got to become the norm.
They've got to try it. They've got to try it, but I do not think these consoles are powerful enough, because you've only got to look at the fact they've gone for 900p on it, and it's like they have to make a choice and go, well, 900p or 1080.
Me, because I just think, right, give me the maximum, like 1080p 60 FPS has got to be the point. They go, right, this is what we're aiming for on these consoles.
They're not getting it though. Star Wars Battlefront was the same, pinged down to 900.
What I don't understand, why they've released these at a point when everyone's got a 1080p TV and everything. That's almost a standard TV that people have got.
Yeah.
And then they go, no. I mean, to be fair, I don't think there's probably a lot of difference between 900 and 1080p, but I think the frame rate is really important, and I don't want to get bogged down in it, but it does give you that extra smoothness.
Yeah, it does. You'll notice it straight away as soon as you play it. The main thing for me, when it comes to any frame rate, is it can be 1 frame a second. As long as it's consistent, I don't care. It's when things start dropping, that's when it becomes an irritant, because you get used to a certain level. Like 30 frames a second, it's fine. But as soon as it drops and starts staggering and blowing up, you think, oh, fucking, you notice it. That's when it becomes an issue. So I'd rather, either way, it's just solid in one of them. 60 frames if possible, but, they're not powerful enough. They're not going to be doing it. Maybe at the very end of the console cycle, you'll be getting 1080p 60, but that's not going to happen. Anyway, it looks and runs very nicely, the beta. You got 3 maps, as Mr. Adkins mentioned. 5-man teams, wasn't it? It's like five men on each team, and it is just standard deathmatch. Standard deathmatch. You go in there, and you've got options in there to. We had for one day actually. For Saturday, or was it Friday? I think Friday. We had one day to actually use the weapon unlocks and upgrades, and change our character and get new costumes and taunts and whatnot. So that was all there to play around with. Essentially, it works on a cash based system. You get cash per round depending on how well you do, or if you're Adkins, you're not killing anyone, you're just running off picking up treasure throughout the map, costing us championships.
Call me Indy.
Yeah, call him Indy. That's all he was doing, picking up relics. And he's finishing top of the leaderboard with 1 kill.
That's it.
So that's a little bit bent.
Playing
but
the game, yeah. The leaderboards were
I hope they changed that for the full version.
Nah.
That's not how team death works.
Well, it doesn't Uncharted. They always have to put a little spin on it, I find. It's never straight up with Naughty Dog. They always do something different. Just go, oh no, we don't just copy. We just make it more complicated. It's fine as it is. I mean, it isn't great, but as long as you finish, I always think if you finish once top of the leaderboard, I'm happy, which I've done. So that's all I care about. Once in a whole game's life cycle, I'm happy with that. But in terms of how the game actually played, Mr. Akers, have you just played through the Uncharted collection in the last sort of couple of months or so?
Yeah. Well, I obviously played the games on the PS3, but a couple of weeks, about a month ago now, I bought the Nathan Drake collection. I've only actually played through the first one.
Right. Okay.
I heard that's had the biggest difference compared to the PS3 version.
Yeah.
So playing that, but what's another thing that I did find was a big improvement was the animations.
Right.
They were incredible in the beta. The way he moved and things. That grappling hook as well. I thought that's a good addition. I know you didn't like it, did you?
No, I like the grappling hook. I thought it's a great addition. But what I don't like is the melee kill of it, like the instant down. I think we was on that Saturday when we was getting fucking our asses kicked. We was getting sick of that because there was one cunt running around just wiping everyone out with that. That was way too OP. But that's what the beta's for, I guess, to discover what people are doing. Hopefully, it won't be like that. No. I mean, so you're quite familiar with the Uncharted series itself. Logan, you're not. So this is your first kind of stab at it, or your first taste of it. How did you find it? Bearing in mind it is in a frantic multiplayer environment.
Yeah, it's sort of like a halfway house for me. I'm okay with sort of just put me somewhere with a gun and kill someone. I'm okay with that. And I felt like I adapted to that pretty quickly. I wasn't going, fucking hell, what's going on here? But I thought the maps were quite well designed, actually. I thought they were quite good. They weren't too big or too small. They were just about right. You had the typical hot spots where it all kicks off, but I'm okay with that. The gun mechanics were pretty good. They're pretty solid, so you don't just have to point and let off. You actually have to think about recoil a little bit. Yeah.
And your ammo is fucking fuck all ammo, isn't there?
Yeah. I quite liked that about it, because it doesn't mean you can just fucking pepper at someone in cover. You have to actually... there's some sort of thought behind what you're doing, which I quite liked. And it also puts more importance on the secondary weapon, which often gets... you don't often use it, but I found myself switching over to that a couple of times, so I thought that was quite good. And I liked the grappling hook for the movement. I think that gives you a little bit of freedom to get about.
It can really fuck you up though. I got snarled up a few times and I was dangling around, just like absolutely caught out. Got blown away about 4 times, just getting stung.
I tried not to use it unless I had to. I'll be honest, it isn't my bread and butter, that sort of stuff. But I'm with you on the grappling hook. It makes melee redundant, so
it is poor, that, to be honest.
Like, it's 3 punches to put someone down, but you've got that hook loaded up, which takes about 2 seconds, I think, for something stupid to get like that. Then it's an instant down, and I was like, right, and you can just run in at someone with that there, and you're never going to kill them with a gun or anything. You're just down. You go, right, well,
you're already done with it. Yeah. Yeah. Do you like the whole downing situation where you go down, then you can be revived, and they've got to put you out of your misery, or would you prefer a sort of, an instant down, you're out of the game?
No, I think in some games it works that there's a downing system. So I think if there's a few less people on there and you have to be a bit more tactical, I think it works, because I think it it encourages you to be together a bit more and stops lone rangers.
Yeah.
So I quite like it in some game modes, but if you had that in Call of Duty, for example, where you're sniping someone from across the map and they just go down, you go,
fucking hell,
what?
Who's getting that kill now?
Yes, I mean they have last man standing and it's a perk, but I think overall it works for me. I think it's okay. Yeah,
I tend to find it works better in third person games that are slightly smaller.
Weird,
like
isn't it? Yeah, and I think that's how it applies. And as I say, we found, didn't we? There's a couple of games where we went right, we didn't really stick together that well, and we were just all over the shop. We lost, and then we were like, right, we're going to win this one, and we just camped out in a little bit. Really went right. We all took a little angle, and we said, right, there's someone over here, and we were a bit more tactical, and we were a lot more successful on that. So, I quite like. It was quite refreshing to play something with a bit more thought behind it, rather than just the get out there, get killed, die, respawn. I thought that was quite good.
Overall positive though for you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it actually. I thought it was good. It was something different for me to play online. As I say, it's right up my street with it being a PvP game, but it's all positive. Other than that grappling hook,
other than that melee
what's
grappling
this
hook.
magic all about? Where's that come from? I don't know.
Well, that's what Uncharted likes to do. They always slip always towards the back end of the game. There'll be some sort of, it's like Indiana Jones. Something will go off, and you think, right, that ain't real, but you just accept it for what it is. Mr. Adkins, is there any good points or bad points that you wanted to mention about what you'd played in the beta? I mean, matchmaking seemed fine. The gameplay, anything like that?
No, I quite liked it. I liked that you actually had the rewards that you could do, like you mentioned earlier, having your character change.
Yeah, change taunts and whatnot. Yeah,
taunts was a good thing. I quite like that. It gives you a bit more of a reason to play online. Cause I do find with these types of games, they just seem to be sort of stuck on. I've got to admit, I probably won't play that much once it comes out. It's good to get a little feel of what the game will be like. I'd like to, because I wanted to with The Last of Us, but
good, that was solid. That was
solid as well. I haven't touched that.
We both need to go on that, didn't we?
Yeah, we should give them a go, really, because I've heard they're alright. There's a Tomb Raider one as well, I think, isn't there?
There was on the old one. I don't think there's on the new one. They binned it, and there's like it's like a score attack mode. So that's their version of it.
So I think a lot of people don't play these games for the multiplayer, but it's good to have it. It's a bonus, isn't it? It's rather be there than not, I suppose.
Exactly. Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say my overall thoughts. I thought it was okay for what it was.
Okay for what it was. Yeah, I'm in two minds about it, because when I first went through, like when you open the beta up, you got an introduction and you're on your own with bots. Essentially, it's just teaching you the basic mechanics. I was stunned by like how good this looked, how it played, and like how it performed. But as soon as I jumped into a competitive match, I completely forgot about all those positives that I just noticed, and I just had my game head on. I feel like this is always my problem with either multiplayer only games or games that are generally multiplayers, that I feel like it kind of waters down the experience, and you stop noticing the great things that the game does, and it just comes down to whether you win or lose. And like Logan mentioned earlier, I think my favourite match was when we had that barren run of like 4 consecutive losses, didn't we? It was having an absolute howler. Well, it wasn't actually. Let me rephrase it. It wasn't losses. It was an absolute slaughterhouse. It was four consecutive beatdowns. We were all beaten by like 10 plus scores each time, and it was a disgrace. I was getting wound up, and I was going, "This is shit." Fuck it. And that is already my opinion was changed just because I was losing. But fortunately, like I said, on our 5th and final match, we actually stuck together. We were very disciplined, and we covered each other, and we dominated that game. Absolutely dominated them. And to me, that was really telling on how Uncharted's multiplayer needs to be played, because if you just look at it, you think that's a headless chicken type game. You're running around shooting, and that's all it is. But in reality, you need to play it quite tactically. You need to stick together, and you need to work as a team. And that was a trait, like you said, was in The Last of Us multiplayer mode. You had to stick together in that, so it offers something a little bit more tactical. Trying to step away from that competitive environment, if I'm just looking at it from whole, I am half interested in the multiplayer, but the campaign is where it's at for me.
Yep.
I'm still absolutely pumped up for that. That's Uncharted's bread and butter. The mechanics that I've got to try out in like the volatile world of online, because it is just an unpredictable mess, I think they're going to translate very, very nicely in the single player. So I was glad to have a little go of it, and it's going to be good. Hopefully, I can't see it being anything other than good unless they make a real hash with the story or something. But mostly, I'm interested because I know that me and Adkins are going to be buying Uncharted 4. So really, the only man that it comes down to is Mr. Logan. Will you buy Uncharted 4 based on what you've played, or has it at least registered some sort of interest to you?
Yeah, it has a little bit.
Everyone's babbling about it.
I've never really got on the Uncharted bandwagon. I mean,
we didn't have a PlayStation 3, did you? So that immediately cuts you out of it.
I'll lend you the game.
Wow. What, 4 or the Uncharted collection?
The Uncharted collection. Get him going. He's got just under 2 months.
It's taken him bloody 6 weeks to do the order. That's 2 hours long, that game. You ain't getting those done.
I've been through this. Stealth isn't my bread and butter. But I could be tempted to. I don't like coming into franchises late, though.
Nah, I wouldn't worry about that.
I know.
Well, I would, but a little bit. But
I don't like the feeling that I've missed out on the progression. So
I do get that, but sometimes you just have to draw a line and say, well, I ain't done it, but I need to just, for my own sanity, have a go at this.
Are there scrabblers?
Well, I think in Uncharted 1 there was some weird scrabblers in it, but they didn't appear in 2 or 3. But the majority, 99% sure there won't be any in it for this particular one. I mean, would you even pick it up for the campaign though? Would the multiplayer alone be enough for you?
No.
So he's calling it shit.
Say, no,
well, out of order, isn't it? Gets that Star Wars beta and he goes, "Yep, pre-order this." No.
I liked the multiplayer, but is it one of them games that I'm going to play for a multiplayer? No, it's not. So, do I want to play the campaign?
Like Gears, very much like Gears. Actually, good campaign usually and good multiplayer, decent.
Yeah. I enjoy the multiplayer on Gears. It's like the only third-person shooter, if you count Battlefield out of it.
Yeah, cut that out.
That I actually play. So yeah. I did enjoy it, but I'm going to have to see where I am. I won't get it on release, but it might be one that I look to pick up.
Well,
that's the best I can offer you, really. Yeah. I'm not completely sold by it on that. I'm not going to go, right, I need that in my life.
Yeah, I think the multiplayer, like I said, the multiplayer part of it, that's not its main pulling point. It's a nice to have, I guess, but it's all in the campaign for me. People disagree, and there's people that probably do just play the campaign, play the multiplayer, and they're nuts. But
loonies,
absolute loonies, as he said. But yeah, it's given me at least a taste for Uncharted 4, and I'm probably more excited now having played it. Adkins, final word to you. More or less excited after playing the Uncharted 4 open beta?
More excited.
More excited, so let's wait till May and get this bastard out, and hopefully it's not.
Get it, mate.
Yeah, well, if they keep pissing around like they're going to lose, but they're not. But they can do what they want, and I'll still buy it.
Yeah.
They could literally go December, and I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll buy it still. It's going to be £80 standard edition. Yeah, okay, I'll buy it still. Really chuck money away at them. Well, that's it now. So that's the Uncharted 4 beta covered off. Mr. Logan, we are going to say goodbye to you because you're going to depart now as me and Mr. Adkins talk about Hitman.
My work here is done. I'll see you guys later.
No worries. Thanks for joining. Cheers.
See you later. Bye.
So, Mr. Adkins, Hitman beta. The game's out now. You know,
is it?
It come out Friday, didn't it?
Oh, of course, yes. Yeah.
It's come out Friday the 11th. We got a chance to play the beta over the weekend from the 4th to the 7th. I guess all we need to really know from me now is that having played the beta on that weekend, on Monday, I went and pre-ordered the full experience pack for £44.99.
How?
So
there you go. So you say it's come out, but has it? Because you ain't got the full game.
Fuck it, redo that. Yeah, that is true. That is true because I am only getting one location, so
You knew what you was getting into.
Yeah, I did, and I kind of wanted to experience that and see what it's like. It could be complete shit, but I'm actually quite looking forward to it, which I'll go into later. But the beta itself, you know, people can go out and buy the full game now. So before you start rattling off about, you know, whether you enjoyed it or not. What's your history like with Hitman? Have you played in the previous ones? This is the new franchise. Absolution, that's quite a different change. Did you play that? Did you play the old ones? What's going on with you and Hitman?
So,
tell us your relationship status.
My relationship was I picked up the Hitman Blood Money on the Xbox 360. So
good game.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was very good actually. I got Hitman Absolution on PC, which I'm currently about 70% through at the moment.
So that's the most recent one, Absolution, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And that was quite a departure from the typical format. It looked like to me anyway. It looked like a new direction. Did you prefer let's say the legacy game, say let's play Blood Money in your example, over Absolution, or did you find them both enjoyable as each other?
I found them both enjoyable. I'm trying to decide which one I preferred. I quite like the arcadey feelness of Absolution. A lot with the contracts mode, where you could have random people set you up contracts.
Sure, so
it's got a small map and they say kill this target with this method using this disguise. I quite like that idea. It was quite fun to play with the leaderboards. But I always thought that the story and the narrative in that was pretty good. You didn't really have that much with Absolution. That was more what Blood Money was about. It focused on that a lot more, and it still had the core mechanics of the game. Which I think the new one sort of has kept true to as well. That's one thing I did notice off the bat was, as good as it did look, I didn't really notice a lot more that's been added, a lot different from the other two games. It's obvious, but then by the same token, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah. I mean, this one seems like a bit of a throwback simply because it seems like it offers you a lot more freedom. Yeah. One of the complaints about Absolution was a little bit more linear. Whereas this actively encourages you. Hitman, 2016, whatever you want to call it, it's almost like a reboot, just called Hitman. Offers you the chance to go back and retry things. It actively encourages you to try and experiment and try and get different assassinations. There's even little challenges you can get by doing this. So, having played through it, you get two levels, don't you? You've got the cruise ship level and also... I don't know what the second one is, like an army base, on air base of some sort, and you've got to obviously assassinate people in either of them. Did you experiment as much as you would have liked as going through? Or did you think the
worst thing was watching you play the game.
Right.
Only by through playing. It was brilliant watching what you were doing.
Yeah.
But having that knowledge of what you'd done, when I came to play it, the next morning, I was just following the routes that you took. I know so I know that the rat poison's down there. I'll go get that.
Yeah. I see.
So I think it's best not to watch any videos of it and go at your own.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought it was enjoyable when I played it.
Yeah, no, I just love the freedom that this seems to give you. I kind of like the idea of this drip feeding. Now, I don't know what that's going to do for the narrative, which I think it might actually take a massive nosedive, to be honest, if I'm predicting something. So that might be a negative of it. But because I'm not going to get 8 levels or whatever, for example, just dumped on my lap, it's not going to overwhelm me. Too often I'll pick up a game that actively encourages you to replay it, but I don't spend the time to do it. Like I power through from start to finish for the whole game, and I never go back. With this, I know that with each content drop, it's probably going to be tops like a week's worth of play, like in the evenings, maybe a weekend session or whatever, and that includes me pissing around and experimenting again, and then I can go away and leave it. And it's not to mention that they're going to be adding like ad hoc contracts where there's say in Paris, which is the first location, they'll be like, right, Tom Adkins is the target, here's the picture, go and kill him. And it's like, it's not set in the narrative world, it's just like a one-off contract that they're developing for the players, and you have from Wednesday to Friday to go and do it. So you've got a set time period, and then you only get one shot at doing it, so it automatically saves your progress. If you blow that first chance, then that never registers as a kill on your kind of Hitman contract like portfolio.
Right, okay.
So it's a little bit more on the lines there, and I can see that getting intense, because doing some of the stuff, even on the ones where you can replay it, that gets intense, where you've just killed somebody, you think, okay, now I've got to walk out of here without being noticed. It cranks it up for you. So it's an interesting way of doing it, and I like the fact that it's not going to completely overwhelm me when it first comes out. And
no.
Because too often, like you said, you get these open world games, you think, fucking 30 hours.
That's the thing. I think this type of drip feeding, like I say, I think it might be beneficial to me, to be honest, because like you say, you steam through Witcher and Fallout.
Yeah.
They're the sort of games that I'll play for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I only put a little dent into them because they're so big, and it takes me years to come back.
Yeah.
I think with this, if they're giving me little portions, I'll do that. Then I can go off what I'd normally do, and then I'll have an incentive to actually come back. I go, oh, there's that new stuff now. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be the style of play that I play games. I think that would be beneficial to me, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they're going to try and keep people engaged by offering these. I think there is a contracts mode, like you said, where people can create their own targets and whatnot. So you've got all that there.
Did like that.
You didn't like that?
No, I did like that.
Oh, you did like that?
Like that of Absolution. So
yeah,
if they're saying that this is like Blood Money, but with the contracts mode, it sounds like it could be the perfect Hitman game.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I mean, it looks great. The only thing that bothers me slightly is this instinct mode, or whatever you call it. You know, where you press L2, and it's, you know what it is? It's Eagle Vision from Assassin's Creed. They fucked everyone over with that.
Absolution as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And I don't like things like that because it kind of just simplifies things too much. Like when I was on that cruise ship looking for that guy, all I did was get near it, press the button, and I could see where he was. There was no effort for me to identify them, which I think should be part of it, really. I know you can't. I know you don't have to use it, but if something's there, you have to. I just feel like I have to use it. I have to give it a go. And yeah, that was a little bit disappointing to have that in there. And it's Assassin's Creed's fault when they've introduced like Eagle Vision. It just highlights everything for you. Every game has it now.
As well, didn't it?
Yeah, Last of Us has it. Witcher 3 has it.
Yeah.
Tomb Raider has it. Survival Instinct. Oh, come on, guys. We don't need this crap, really. But if you put it in there, I will ruin it for myself. So whose fault is it, really? That's the only thing that was a little bit of a botherance. And I'm hoping that with these ad hoc contracts that they're doing, for the life of me, I can't remember what mode they've called it, but that they don't do that for you, that you have to actually identify the person. It'd be better if, I wouldn't mind if like you had to get close to them and then you could like trigger it and it would remember their location from then, like that way. But from the outset, you can just press it and go, right, he's there. Okay, I'll have a little wander and go and find him. But yeah, I've committed. I've got it sitting here. I need to go and play it, really, rather than talk about it. But it was something that I just had to get you on and talk about because we both had a go of it. What's your sort of likelihood for purchasing this?
I think I'm going to try and finish Absolution before I do buy it.
Right.
But I would like. It's the wrong way to go about it, but buying this small segment.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever buy one segment and not want to complete it.
Yeah.
So then I think, well, what's the point of buying it like that? I might as well buy the full collection.
Yeah.
But I suppose it would be a lot cheaper on PC, wouldn't it? And
yeah. So you've got an option there on the PC.
Yeah. So I think I could dabble into it. One thing I did notice from it from previous games, once you get caught, there is no mercy.
You get put down quick, which is good because otherwise you would just blow everyone away, wouldn't you?
That's it. Yeah, I did find myself doing that with Absolution. If I ballsed it up, I thought, oh shit, and I thought, well, at least I can shoot my way out of this.
Oh, because that was an option. Absolution, was it? Like you could just.
Well, pretty much you could. It was. You obviously got shit points for it and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's the whole point is stealth. But
yeah,
that I did have that option to me. Yeah, I weren't getting put down the second I got shot. I could blast my way out. But with this, it doesn't. It just literally no mercy. You are getting gunned to fuck the second you get caught. Which, like I say, is pretty realistic. If you was getting caught in that thing.
Exactly. I mean, I tried to shoot my way out a couple of times, and every time I died, and I was like, "There's only 5 of them, I'm sure," but they really did. They do show no mercy whatsoever. But yeah. I'm going to go away and play this and report back on my findings. I don't know how I'm going to tackle reviewing this, whether to do each content drop or, I don't know, a tough one. We'll have to think about that particular one because it is a little bit unique. It's a little bit like Telltale, but I don't do them to the very end. Don't know, tough one, but I'll definitely be reporting in hopefully next week on that first episode, as they're calling it, the intro pack, and we'll see how that goes. But thanks very much for joining me on this particular episode of the podcast, Tom. If you guys at home want to get in contact with us, you can do at Dimp Digital. And that's our Twitter handle. Facebook.com/Dimp Digital for the Facebook page. dimpdigitalmedia@gmail.com for the email address. And if you want to look at a one-stop shop for all of our content, it's dimpdigital.com. The webmaster Chappers is running the show of that and doing a very, very good job keeping that up to date with all this shit that we're flinging out. Yeah. If you just want the YouTube stuff, youtube.com/Dimp Digital. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you should be subscribing, so head over to Player FM to subscribe and download their Android app. If you're on iTunes, or Apple rather, iTunes is your place for that. Windows Phone, as I said many times before, get out, although I'm sure we're there somewhere. I'm pretty sure of it. That's it for now, though. Game over. It's goodbye from Mr. Adkins.
Ta-da.
And it's goodbye from me, Apps. Thanks for your time, and ta-da.
What an absolute bucket of fuck.
Fuck me.
Alright, that went well actually, yeah.
That'll do the job. Didn't know you played Absolution.
Yeah, I've got it on thing. I was about to play it today actually, but I've just finished the DLC of Arkham Knight.
Still playing through that, are you?
Yeah, I deleted it now.
Oh, is that it now? It's all done, is it?
So, I think so, yeah. I think they're bringing out, I just typed in on Google and it said that they're bringing out a Game of the Year version.
Yeah.
Crank of the Year, more like.
Cunts. Absolute cunts.
Yeah. So I finished that because you got like all the little... They're like 10 minutes long, if that. Fucking shit. But I finished that. But, so yeah, how many... There we go. Absolution. Oh, I've only been playing it for 3 hours, Absolution.
Cool.
That ain't very good.
70%? You're having a fucking laugh, aren't you?
Yeah, no, that's lies, that is.
Lying to our listeners. Lying to our listeners, I'll have you strung up.
I think that is quite short, though, Absolution.
Oh, is it?
Well,
let's have a look. How long to beat?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to do.
Hit. Oh, my God. Can't get at it.
Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, I can. 12.5 hours. He's got average. Let's have it. So I probably speed run through half it. Like I say, I blasted my way out. So, main story, you can do it in 8 hours. So, yeah I'm lying still, but you know.